And we've been joined by Houston coach Tony Levine. The Cougars, as we said, are 6-1 overall, 3-0 in the American Athletic Conference. Houston was in action this past week at Rutgers. Houston won the game 49-14. This week, a short week for the Cougars. Houston playing USF at Reliance Stadium this Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. Coach, thanks for joining us on the call. If you could take a minute to tie up the win at Rutgers and then tell us how you approach the short week as you head into the game against USF, please.
Well, another good win for our program. Really proud of our student athletes, our staff, and our coaches. Again, you go up there on the road, coming off the close game against BYU, and a little bit cooler up in New Jersey than it is down here. And homecoming, I was proud of the way they took on that challenge. Our focus went immediately to South Florida after the game. In fact, all of our coaches were. I didn't want them to look certainly past Rutgers, so we did not look at any South Florida video this season until we got on the airplane, and we're heading back to Houston after the game. So our staff began their preparation, I guess, at about 35,000 feet, and we had a good day of, I think, game planning yesterday. We had a brief team meeting last night. We conditioned. We did not practice, and we'll be out at practice here this afternoon, and looking forward to another opportunity and a tremendous challenge in our game in 3 days against South Florida.
Coach, before we throw it to question, just wanted to get a word on Trayvon Stewart, who is the conference defensive player of the week, if you would mind just talking a little bit about his performance.
Oh, that is terrific. I had not heard that. Trayvon's a young man. He's a true sophomore, was a high school running back and corner. Came here last year, was very productive in our August training camp as a true freshman, and felt like we had to find a way to get him on the field. Went from corner to nickel and nickel to safety, and ended up being a freshman All-American last year, leading all freshmen nationally with 126 tackles. He is a guy that is always around the football, certainly one of our better tacklers. And I think when you look at his stats this year, I think he's got a couple of interceptions, a couple of forced fumbles, a couple of fumble recoveries, and certainly one of our leading tacklers. So I'm proud of him. He's a leader for us, although he's young, and happy that he was able to get recognized with that honor this week.
Take questions for Coach Tony Levine. Please hit *1 on your telephone to join the queue, and then the operator will introduce you.
And first up, we have Joseph Duarte of Houston Chronicle.
Hey, good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Joseph.
Hey, I was just checking out any updates this morning on Ryan Jackson?
No, he'll still be a day-to-day. So I'll know more, and I say day-to-day, it could be even hour to hour, still going through our concussion management process, and we'll know more this afternoon. And again, I mean, he could be a 48, 24 hours out determination, but he's not been ruled out as of right now.
Do you take any other steps in terms of the guys that you have available now with Kenneth back? Does that help you a little bit, where maybe you don't have to look at a Joseph Glenn, or have you kind of closed the book on a guy like Glenn for the remainder of the season?
Yeah, yes, we have. It's the point now. We talked about that. Again, you kind of saw it this past week with Larry McDuffie being out. Rather than taking the red shirt off of a Donald Gage at this point, we just moved DeMarcus Ayers over to that position. So that's something at this point. Pretty confident that the true freshmen, if they haven't played yet, we'll try our best to redshirt them. And again, Joseph, not to continue talking, but running back with Kent Brooks and Justin Hicks, we're getting Randall Hallman back off an injury, so we feel like we got some guys that have game experience and are certainly capable.
Okay.
Our next question will come from Joey Knight of Tampa Bay Times.
Coach, it's maybe a little bit of a stretch, but while y'all were recruiting John O'Corn, did you by any chance have a chance to observe Mike White, who's starting for USF Thursday night?
Joey, that's an excellent question, and we did. He was a young man we evaluated, made a little bit of contact, maybe not even that he will remember, but I certainly remember him well from a year ago, and very, very talented, got a big arm, and I know Coach Taggart and the staff there are very excited about him. And he was a talented young man, coming out of high school. Obviously, he's got limited college video, certainly, but we're very aware of Mike.
Was it his arm that stood out? I know he's kind of just a pure drop-back guy, that, like Coach Taggart said, but was it his arm that really kind of caught your attention, or anything else?
Yeah, no, and again, he's got the intangibles. He's got poise. He's mature. I think he in high school he made great decisions where to throw the football. But when people talked about Mike, that is one of the first things they mentioned was his pure arm strength. So I don't want to say he's a one-dimensional guy, but as a guy that can drop back and throw the football around the field, he certainly did that at a high level in high school.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Joey.
And next we have Joey Johnson of the Tampa Tribune.
Tony, John O'Corn obviously is having a lot of success as a true freshman. What qualities did you see in him that led you to believe he could be successful in his first year? And also, like we just mentioned about Mike White starting, what kind of opportunity is this for your ball-hawking defense to get a guy in his first start on national TV like this?
Well, starting off with talking about John O'Corn, I will say this, and I'm going, Joey, back to kind of how you phrased your question. When you ask how did we know he would play at this level so early, we you may be aware of this, but we lost our starting quarterback to a career-ending injury in our second game of the season. So, we didn't anticipate. Certainly, we're playing two true freshman quarterbacks right now, John O'Corn and Greg Ward. We didn't anticipate both of them playing certainly in the amount they are right now. But John is a young man that when you're around him, and you go through a recruiting process, and you certainly got to do your homework and get a good feel for the person as much as the athlete. And when you're around John, it doesn't take long to see the type of character he has, the type of leadership he has, his work ethic, and even his poise. So again, you combine all those intangibles at the quarterback position, and you feel like you've got ingredients for success. So again, we had a talented quarterback here a couple of years ago in Case Keenum, who's now starting for the Texans, and when he was a true freshman, he was redshirting, and so you got a young man. There's maybe only a small handful of programs, and now you can add South Florida to that list that are starting true freshmen at the quarterback position, and he's a young man, as is Greg Ward, that they're not getting better on a weekly basis; they're getting better on a daily basis. So I've been happy to see their progression to this point. I think when you talk about South Florida starting Mike White against our defense, our guys really are focused kind of on what we're doing, and regardless of opponent, whether it's a freshman quarterback, a sixth-year starter, whoever's carrying the football, our guys are going to try to create those takeaways, and we'll prepare like we have every week this season, and again, it's going to be a great challenge for us.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
And next we have Brendan Brittany of New York Star Ledger.
Morning, Tony. How are you?
Good morning. Brendan?
Yes.
Yes, good morning.
Morning. Just sort of wondering, when you look at what John's been able to bring to you as a freshman and what Greg's sort of been able to give to you as an added dimension at the quarterback spot, is that sort of the prototype for what teams got to have? You have to be ready in case someone goes down like David, but those guys also have to be able to step it up and produce right away.
I think yes and yes. Again, when you look out there and you see two 18-year-olds taking every snap, I think people forget too. We lost our starting left tackle in the first game as well. So those guys, we've gotten them experience so that they've, in case they had to play. Like when we started the season, again, David Pyland was our returning starting quarterback. Had started 18 games going into this season. He was a redshirt junior. We did give John some experience in our first game against Southern. And then in the week 2 against Temple, when David suffered his injury in the first half, John was able to go in, at least have a little bit of experience going into that game. We made the decision early in camp that we were going to try to play Greg Ward as well. And then we've certainly, he's got a very specific role for us, brings a different dimension to that position. And again, those two men, I think, are a little bit unique in that they're only 18, but the poise they have, there hasn't been a stage that's been too big for them yet that I've seen. And they're learning our offense on a daily basis and getting better, and their teammates have confidence in them. So again, I think if you ask most coaches around the country, hey, do you want to start a true freshman quarterback? I don't know that a bunch would jump up and raise their hand and say absolutely. But in our case, we were forced to due to the injury to David Pyland. And again, those two young men have done a great job, and I certainly credit our staff for their preparation and game planning and helping them be successful, each and every week.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
We have time for one more for Coach Levine, please.
And that will be from Joey Johnston, the Tampa Tribune.
Yeah, Tony, I know it's always a good thing to have a standalone game for exposure on national TV. Just talk about that and the fact that it's on Halloween of all days, and also if you could just speak just a little bit about your uniform thing for us.
Well, and it is good for our program. Someone asked me yesterday, how bad is it having the quick turnaround with a Thursday game, and I really like it. It's a chance for more national exposure for both our program and South Florida's program. If you want to look at it, we get a little bit more time to prepare for our following opponents. So, we did something creative with our uniforms. It is Halloween. We're going to go in all-black uniforms. We showed the kids what they looked like last night at our team meeting. They're excited. And, again, I think what I kind of envision are a lot of families trick-or-treating and then going back home and turning on the television and watching the Cougars and the Bulls play for 3 hours. So it'll be good exposure for our program. I know certainly our fan base is excited and our student athletes are as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach, thanks for the time this week. We look forward to talking to you again next Monday.
Likewise. Thank you.
All right, and that is Houston coach Tony Levine, the Cougars against USF, Thursday at Reliance Stadium, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN.